We got to talk about Grant Fisher leaving the Bowerman Track Club. This hit, I feel like, everybody's social media channels over the last week. I know we have a screenshot of his Instagram where he just shared that, you know, the track club, he's grateful for the opportunities and huge defining part of his season over the last 4 years. And his time there has just been transformative for him as an athlete, as a person. But right now, he doesn't see it fitting his future and the goals that he has with the club moving forward. So, Ashley, what was just kind of your thoughts as this hit your phone?
This was the breaking news on Thursday evening. I think I put my phone down maybe for like a 20-minute period on Thursday evening. All of a sudden, I open it up, and it's like 20 text messages about Grant Fisher leaving the Bowerman Track Club, which I guess it kind of comes as a shock, you know, like Grant Fisher, you know, since he graduated from Stanford, like he's been with Bowerman this whole time.
Yeah.
He's four years at Bowerman, you know, if you look at the record books, he's one of the greatest, technically, you know, U.S. distance runners of all time. He has North American records in the 3K, the 5K, and the 10K. You know, if you look at what he did at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, he finished 9th in the 5K, I believe, and 5th in the 10K. So, I mean, he's very accomplished, and he did all this while at Bowerman. And so for him to be now making this move in his career after arguably one of the better seasons of his career, minus his injury where he wasn't able to go to Worlds, you know, I think that's a little bit surprising. What do you think?
I was definitely shocked by this. I think it's just as much as you were. And like you said, I know he's been battling with an injury, but like since that injury, he's been finishing strong. He's competed in only 6 races this outdoor season. He was 4th at trials, 28-25 in the 10K. He then had a very strong finish at Prefontaine Classic where he was 3rd in the 3K with a 7:25.
I mean, that was an American record right there, you know?
Insane, right? Mm-hmm. And then competed in the Zurich Diamond League where he was 3rd in the 5K with a season's best of 12:54. So my brain was like something, I feel like, how do you go from running and finishing well in the season to all of a sudden now being like, this is not the right move for me?
Yeah. It makes you wonder
internally.
Many things.
Yeah.
You know, now my question too is like, is he not the only one to leave? You know, like who else could potentially follow? Like, is this going to be a mass exodus potentially? Like, who knows? But of course now the other question on everyone's mind, because he hasn't, you know, divulged like where he's planning on going next.
Right.
He said that he's leaving Bowerman, but he hasn't said where he's going to go next, you know, coaching-wise, and if he's going to join, you know, any club or anything.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I know we debated about this earlier today, and
we have some debates.
We have some different opinions.
Okay, so I think my first initial thought was like the OAC group, right?
But he's with Nike, so
exactly.
That's not
so then it, of course, what Ashley just said, I was like, wait, that can't happen. So now it's like, what happens next? Does he join NN Running and train in Kenya? And his former Bowerman teammate, Mark Scott, is now doing that. Also, I'm thinking about NAU, going with Mike Smith, possibly training with Gravala out there. So I feel like that's where I'm leaning towards.
Okay. So Mike Smith, Flagstaff?
Yes.
Okay.
Going to Flagstaff.
I feel like that's plausible. You know, like Mike Smith has seen a lot of success with those athletes here that he's training, obviously with NAA, but then also with like Louis Grijalva,
yes,
Abdi Noor. Like they, you know, he's definitely had a, you know, a proven track record of, you know, getting people to those world championships and competing on a high level. You know, that's originally where I was thinking. I think that's a very plausible option.
But
then I was thinking more, and I was like digging into, you know, a lot of the very prominent coaches around. And I was like, okay, what if he goes back to Chris Miltenberg? You know, Chris Miltenberg was his coach at Stanford when he was in college at Stanford. Now Miltenberg's at UNC, and he's the head of those programs. But, I mean, we saw how successful Grant Fisher was in Stanford. Like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like,
right.
Isn't that the saying? Like, I mean, maybe he, you know, takes that route and goes with them. But I could also see Mike Smith. I feel like those are some of the leading options. I know there's other, you know, options out there. Like, he could go train with Pete Julian, you know, some of those other options. Like, I'm just curious.
See, my brain is like, how likely is he going to go back to where he left?
Why not?
Well, he left it for, you know, left that part of his life for a reason. Unless it was just something in his contract where Nike was like, hey, you got to go X, Y, Z.
I don't know. I mean, I will say I think I'm going to go the Miltenberg route. You know, I kind of like that plot line. Like, it's good for the plot. It's good for the plot. You know, oh, wow.
Returns
you know,
back to old
I ran
coach.
for him in college, and now, return to old coach. a good storyline. Do it for
I
the
like
headline.
the NAU storyline. I like the Coach Mike Smith storyline.
I do also think that's very plausible.
I just don't know where else.
I guess we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Once he actually makes his announcement, that's going to be like the breaking news of the day.
That's going to be the breaking news. So stay tuned because I'm invested in this decision here. As